Peter, initial thoughts?
Crazy game. Mad 8 minutes where the mistakes we make from, I think one of our most experienced players makes a couple of mistakes for the goals, but I think that's after he runs into the barriers and gets a head knock, whether that has anything to do with the decision making. But we were really comfortable 3-5-2, the formation that we were playing today, and I thought the young boys up top looked really good and lively. I was really delighted with Billy Gray, how he played for the majority of the game. I felt he really tired because it's a lot of demands for him, and he's for 90 minutes in a game like that. But then it's probably been my fault for the second half, we'll say, because we brought Brennan Dickinson on and changed the formation slightly, and we wanted to have a little look at a player in a different position. We moved that, and then with Billy and Freddie having to play a little bit wider, I felt just the shape. We lost a bit of the shape there, and we were a bit too wide and made it easy for a Hearts team that has overloads the midfield. But the mistakes that we make are criminal. So losing a game from a really comfortable position at 2-0, that's really, really disappointing. Where we should be seeing the game out, just condense the space. But as I said, making those younger players going into little positions they're probably they're not unfamiliar with, because Billy plays as a winger, but I think he did tire. He got cramp in his calves, and because we didn't have that many of the options on the bench to change, he had to stay on. I do feel he got tired, but he was excellent. So it'll be a good learning curve for him. He was instrumental in building up the first goal. Delighted for him, but probably needs to get a little bit fitter. But that's what these games are for. We spoke on Saturday saying that these teams probably aren't good enough, and it's I've left myself wide open. So that's the way it goes.
We've talked recently in the last few weeks about the mental attitude. I felt at half-time, job done. Do you think there was maybe a mental attitude in the dressing room and amongst the players that it was job done?
Not really, I think, because the players were desperate to get back out. We were out here first on the pitch. The players are raring to go. Started the second half quite well. So maybe not, but after this we go, yeah, probably it was that case. I think it was more a case of we changed the formation, changed the personnel, tried something, didn't work, because we were looking at maybe trying something that might work for us in the league games going forward, should we have the injuries that we have at the moment, and it didn't work. It really didn't work.
Positives we'll talk about. Billy Gray, you've already touched about. Brennan coming back.
That's it, yeah. Brennan coming back, and he looked really good. He looked really good, but the fact that we didn't have control of the game in the period that he was on is really disappointing, because we should have got more out of Brennan and worked him a little bit more. But yeah, he looked really good. He had a good header at one point, a good shot that hit the top of the netting. So yeah, introduced him back in, which is great. He's been building up. As I said, on Saturday we've lost Curtis now for a couple of weeks, so hopefully we can rely on Brennan a little bit more. But on the other side of that, I've also mentioned about Freddie and Billy, when we change the shape and not really being aware of what they were doing in that. But Freddie as a centre forward scored again. He scored in a reserve game a few weeks ago, then scored in the first team, scored again. So that's positive too. So yeah, small little positives, but again, the cup games, we didn't have, we had Kai Kennedy on the bench. We didn't want to risk him today because he had an injury from Saturday. So we're just, we're getting through the games. It's a lot of toll on the players, but it is what it is. We know that we have these games, we've got to recover, and we've got a big game on Saturday now.
Lost Ben Johnson in the warm-up. Jack Canna looks as though he's taken a heavy knock there at the end as well.
Yeah, that's it with Ben. He got the injury on Saturday. Trained yesterday and felt okay, but then tried to do the warm-up and broke down straight away, so we had to make an amendment to the team. I just said about Matthew Douglas flying into the horde and landing on his head or his neck. Jack Canna with a bad tackle on the player, on him with the studs up. So bumps and bruises, hopefully that's all they are. We get through it and it builds more character. So hopefully everybody's all right for Saturday.
And talking of character, you're going to need character up at Montrose on Saturday.
Absolutely. Away from home, Montrose are always really good. Stuart Petry's got them really well drilled. So we'll go up there. We know we'll be in for a really tough time. I think they got to win tonight. So, yep, we've got to make sure that we're ready for the fight. Our character's there, and we all stand up to that fight as well.
And of course, the results, you want to get back to winning ways to start another run and get another momentum going again.
Absolutely. I think you'd said about that on Saturday, and you want to win every game. It's just the manner in which those 8 minutes tonight, and then how we finished the game, because I thought, lads, our players start gambling forward, but then we didn't put the balls forward, so we lost the ball and we were wide open for the counter attacks, and that's a little side of it, the psychological side of it, the mentality side of it, where our players, if things aren't going against you can't just lose your discipline. So we've got to make sure that we address all of that for Saturday, and the players are aware of it too. And going forward, we want to try and get back on a run, obviously.
We talk about these games being a learning curve, and by the sounds of things, you've learned quite a lot again tonight. Yeah,
we have, but as I said, we wanted to try something tonight. It didn't work, so it was the perfect opportunity for us to try it, because if you try that in a league game and it doesn't work, you lose your 3 points. Tonight was the cup game, but I think if you get 9 points in these cup games, you should go through to the next round. So I felt it was an opportunity for us to have a look at something. It really didn't work, because we conceded the 3 goals, but they were down to mistakes, I feel. So we may look at that again, but it doesn't really sit very well when you lose 3 goals because of that change. So, that's something we have to discuss between the staff when we look at the analysis.